Okay. Yeah. So what is this section about? We have here the models that we are going to be using. So for this particular section, we are going to be running ESM 2.1 or ESM-3. Please choose one of them. So don't go for the two of them, because then, yeah, we are going to get Oli pretty busy. And also, yeah, well, it's not required, it's too much probably. So how do you run a simulation? So we already seen how we build simulations. So the way or the workflow of running a simulation is, first you prepare the run script, and then you submit your simulation using ESM run scripts and your run script. So let's look at these steps in detail. So how do you prepare your run script? Well, first of all, you need to have a run script. You can get it from ESM-Tools. Inside the ESM-Tools folder, you have ESM-Tools run scripts. But this workflow, this workshop also come with some run scripts for you, and those are the ones that we are going to be using here. And once you have your run script, you have to start to change things to adapt it to first to your account, right? So in most of the computers, you'll need an account in which to charge the computing resources and also to charge the disk space. In Oli, you don't need it, so you can leave it actually empty. You can just leave it with two quotes, and that's basically an empty string, and that would be fine. Or you can directly in Oli, only in Oli, delete the account variable. And then you have two other very important variables. Is the base dir and the model dir. So the base dir is the absolute path to the directory where your experiment folder is going to be created. Okay? And it's important that it's an absolute path.
Experiment is simulation.
And experiment folder is the folder that contains all the data for your simulation. And we will look at the structure of the experiment folder because that's pretty important. But yes, exactly. So the base dir is the path until where you're going to actually be putting your experiment folder. And then we have model dir. The model dir is the place where you have compiled your, in this case, couple setup. So basically, it's the folder. It will be an absolute path to your folder called AVI ESM 2.1 or AVI-CM 3.1. And you have to feed that inside the general section of your source. And then there are other variables that are important, but we are not going to be yet touching on this exercise, but just for you to start to get a bit familiar with them, we have the compute time. The compute time is basically the wall time that you are going to be using to run a run. So what I'm saying here is, hey, Slurm, my run is going to last maximum 20 minutes. If my run lasts longer than 20 minutes, Slurm is going to kill it on the way. So if I estimate that my run is going to be longer than 20 minutes, well, you can set it up to be 30 minutes. And bear in mind that when I've been talking about compute time, I've been saying run, and not whole simulation. So this is not how much time you are requesting for your whole simulation. This is how much time you are requesting for each of the runs. And then we have other calendar time, so internal model time handling and ESM-Tools calendar handling. So this initial date, final date, they are pretty intuitive, but we will touch into those variables later on. And year and month and day, and then in the different components, we also have sometimes time variables. But this is for later, because right now, the exercise is just to submit the simulation. So now we can go for the second step of submitting the simulation. The way you submit a simulation is you type ESM run scripts, and then you specify, you basically give the path to your run script, and then you use the -e flag. This stands for experiment, and you are going to give it an experiment ID. And you can also give it a flag for verbose for increasing the verbosity. I wouldn't do it unless you are debugging, because it really increases the verbosity a lot. And what ESM run script does, once you type these commands, it prepares the experiment folder with this path. So basically the base dir that we have defined before in the run script plus the experiment ID. And that's going to be your experiment folder. And then also there is going to be copying and linking the input and forcing files, also the binary files from your model there. Everything is going to be copied or linked into that folder. And it's going to create the first run folder. First run folder, the run folder is going to be a folder inside the experiment folder that is going to contain all the files necessary for running that single run. And it's going to be tagged with a timestamp. So this is the part of preparing the experiment folder. And then there is a second part which it submits the simulation to Slurm. So it submits this this .run file to Slurm. And if you would want to run a check run, this is the syntax that you would be using. You will be adding minus check flag. And then what this does essentially is that it prepares the experiment folder, but it doesn't submit to Slurm.
You can still use like -C.
You can also use -C, yeah. So
there are always two versions. One is the short form and one is the long form. For example, -C and -check are basically the same.
okay, so we start with the hands-on session.